Okay, so we are live. Hello, everybody. This is Leah Rubinstein in Drops of Light project here at the 1 Million Meditators. We usually do this program at 7, but we are today with a special guest from Israel. So this is why we made it a little bit earlier. And hopefully we will, you can watch the replay if you're still at work or if you're busy. So with me tonight, Rabbi Amichai Cohen, which is an expert in Kabbalah. He has a Kabbalah school in Tzfat. For those of you that don't know, Tzfat is a place where a lot of famous great Kabbalists are buried. So it's a very special, energetic place. And well, I have the honor to have Rabbi Amichai. How are you, Amichai?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's great to be with you, Leah. It's great, always great to speak to you and wonderful audience over there, million meditators. So
Yes,
glad
thank
to be on.
good. Well, this Drops of Light project has the intention of merging modern science with ancient Kabbalistic teachings. And so far, in previous sessions, I taught about how the universe was created, that is completely compatible with the Big Bang Theory. And then we went on to talk about we human beings and that we have 5 levels of the soul. 3 of them are within us, inside of us, and 2 other levels for coming weeks are outside of our bodies. So we're not our body. We are much more than, because the upper the level, the wider our soul. No, so we are only living 1% of our soul is inside our bodies. So I talked about the animal level of the soul, which is our body and the nervous system. And the second level of the soul is the heart. We spoke about the heart math research investigation that is completely compatible with what we know in Kabbalah, no? And today we're going to be learning from Rabbi Amichai about the neshama. Neshama is the intellectual soul, so to speak. But wait a second. What didn't I just say that the nervous system is at the lowest level of the soul? So what's the difference between nefesh and neshama? What's the difference between this nervous system that is all the time in a dualistic form, all the time evaluating, all the time categorizing? This is the monkey mind that actually, when we are in meditation, will want to shush. This is why the Buddhists say, don't judge. But it's not meaning judgment as in being judgmental. What they mean is that this monkey mind, analyzing mind, should be shushed, which means this. It's also based on ego, by the way. It's also based on flight or fight or flight mode, you know. So once you transcend, we go over to the emotional torus of electromagnetism, and we go all the way up to neshama. So what is this intellectual uh, conscious level of soul, Rabbi Cohen?
So neshama, the word neshama itself comes from the word nishima, which in Hebrew means to breathe. And King David says, Kola neshama tahalelka hallelujah, right? That the entire soul will praise the Almighty. So every breath, Kola neshama, the entire soul, the commentators, the sages tell us, don't read it neshama, rather neshima. Kol neshima v'neshima. Every breath and breath that we take is another manifestation of praise to the Almighty. You know, there's
This is why the Buddhists make a lot of emphasis in breath work and pranayama, they call it, not different techniques of breathing. Of course, it makes every sense.
yeah, totally. And I heard two very, before we get into neshama in terms of your, you know, the exact definition of it, but just, just the word of neshima, of breath, of how precious it is to it's our vitality, right? There was unfortunately a colleague of mine that passed recently of COVID, and he was battling this for 10 months. For 10 months, he was on a ventilator for the majority of it, and then he got out, and then he went back into it, and in between the relapse of that, finally, that was the end of his life. He was speaking to a friend of mine, and my friend told me about this, that he said, one thing I'll never take for granted is the breath, the ability to breathe.
Yes.
And like, wow, it's it's such a blessing. And that's exactly what King David says, Kol neshima v'neshima. Each and every breath is another praise of the Almighty. And another story, there was an older gentleman that was also in the emergency unit over there with COVID, on a ventilator, and thank God he became better. He got out of it, got out of the hospital, and they gave him the bill, and the bill was for something astronomical. And the man started, of course, insurance paid for part of it, whatever, but he started to cry, this older gentleman. And the healthcare practitioners were like, oh my God, they felt so bad. This person was, was through such a difficult time, and finally he got out of it, and now he's crying. He probably can't afford it. We said, we're sorry, maybe we could try to figure something out. And he said, don't worry, it's not funny. I could pay it. But it's just making me think that how much do I owe the Almighty? Do I owe God for every single breath that I took? If for so many, weeks, whatever it is, it costs this much. So my entire life,
Yes.
we are getting this this gift, right? This gift of
What a precious
breath.
story. What a precious story. Are you acquainted with Wim Hof?
Yes, my wife is actually very into it, and I've heard and I've done it, and it's very
Yes, of
powerful.
course.
And
You want to know something
yeah,
funny? Last year, we were distributing the Zohar among people here in New York, and in Parshat Pinchas, I opened it.
yeah.
In Parshat, in the portion of Pinchas of the Zohar, it says that the divine name Yud K Vav K is in the air that we breathe. So we are breathing divine sparks, and the more we are aware of this, I think this is the neshama, no, the level of the soul that we're talking about, awareness. The
Well,
more we are aware, because it's not the same breathing without any purpose than breathing with awareness that you are bringing in sparks of divinity and you're becoming like the divine creator. It's amazing.
beautiful. And also the name Yud K Vav K, God's holy name, uh, is the Yud. The letter Yud is the small letter over there. But then it has Hey Vav Hey, which means Hoveh, which means the present.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, we're going to be talking about this in this coming up course that we're doing. But this idea of Hoveh, the present, and like you're saying,
Yeah.
that when we breathe in, we're breathing in breath and presence and awareness. But what that is, it's essentially it's
Yeah.
divinity, right? It's that gift. It's that gift that we receive every single
This
day, every single second.
these four letters of the divine name, if you scramble them around, they spell out Haya, past, Hove, present, and the Hiye, future, which means that the divine source is eternal.
Right,
Very good.
exactly.
Can you please tell us more about the upcoming course that you're going to be giving? I think it's next week, no? A week from
Yes,
now.
Yep. So we're starting on February 7th. It's called Doorway into the Subconscious. And it's
Ooh.
mindfulness meditation, according to Kabbalah, and essentially it's going to be a very, very deep dive into the way Kabbalah understands what mindfulness is, and that requires, of course, going into our mind, which
Mhm.
means what is in our mind. Sorry, there's an H over there at the end of there. At the end of there's livekabbalah.com has an H at the end, just by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
All
I'll fix
good,
it.
all
Fix
good, all good. So that requires us to go into our minds, our subconscious minds, because essentially, when we realize that everything that we do is just something that we are programmed, and it's our programming, and that goes back to the way we grew up. It goes back to who we are, the type of people that we are, nature, nurture, right?
Mhm,
And it
mhm.
goes back even further to reincarnations, and a lot of deep baggage that we are carrying, that especially now, right in these times, in these times particularly, it's that we are meant to really tap into this, because it's like we have no choice. I mean, we could evade it and say everything is fine, and like an ostrich that put our head inside of the ground, and like pretend that nothing's happening, everything's good and whatever. But like, things are happening, and of
Mhm.
course it's our perception of it that causes all of the
Yeah.
anxiety, that causes all the apathy, or
Mhm,
indifference, or not being in reality. There's
mhm,
basically
mhm.
two types of people around: people that are not realistic with what's going on, and they're like it's just no mass, there's no problems and whatever it is, and so that's not realistic, right? But then for
Depends
the other
where, Rabbi. Depends where.
what do
Depends
you mean?
where.
What do you mean
Um,
depends where?
uh, it's not the situation over here in New York, but let's not go over there. It's
Okay.
different realities for different people. But I
Yes,
totally hear you. I totally
yeah,
hear
yeah.
you.
So
By
what
the
I'm
way,
saying
I'm
is
a
that,
COVID survivor.
oh, okay, that's good. Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah.
So you were there, right? But still, anyways, everyone should just be well, and let's switch the topic from talking about COVID, because it's
Yeah,
but
we'll
but
never.
the but the whole but the whole idea, and why I brought it up, is that essentially we're living in times of and potential anxiety, and potential, um, our spheres of consciousness, spheres of perception have been changed, and we're now viewing things in we're supposed to view things in different ways, about ourselves, about the
Mhm.
world, and the way that we connect, and the way that we operate, the way that we think, the way that
And we
we
feel.
act, the way that we feel, exactly,
Yeah.
coming back to
I,
the heart. So that's really what this deep dive is going to be about, and we've paired up with Dana Piker, who is a hypnotherapist. And so essentially the whole course, and the whole purpose of it is to affect actual change. So whatever theories we're going to speak about is not just being in the theoretical, it's via meditation and via hypnotherapy. And Leah, I know you're gonna be joining us and giving
yes.
a number of
Heart
heart
math.
meditations, heart
Yes.
math.
Can't
So
wait.
that's going to be awesome. I'm excited about that, because
Yes.
that sounds great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's good. It's going to be amazing. Just like in other courses that we've had, it's just about transformation, and it's really going through a concept, but then every single day, like
Yes.
dripping in meditation, hypnosis, journaling, and it's about the transformation that's affected from that. So it's
Yeah.
basically a 30-day, like, right on, and you're just, making a rapid transformation of things that you need to get rid of in your life, and
Yeah.
things that you need to download and implement in your life. So that's the purpose of this
Very well.
of this course. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait. I can't wait to be there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you heard from Gabor Mate. Gabor Mate is a psychiatrist and he is also Jewish. He's a Holocaust survivor. He was born late in the war, but he's still a Holocaust Hungarian survivor. And he became a psychiatrist. And he's not religious. He only believes in God. And very interestingly, he says that the root of all addiction is the pain of disconnection when you lost something, but the deepest pain is the disconnection with your true self, with your divine soul. Isn't this
Wow.
amazing? It's
Wow.
beautiful
Wow.
because if you see
You.
it from all
Yeah.
different angles with different glasses, it's the
Mm,
same thing.
mm,
We can talk
mm,
about electricity from the scientific side or from the philosophical side or from the Kabbalistic side, and electricity will always remain electricity, no? So it's
mm,
the same thing with these levels of the soul, whatever you want to call them, they are there. And if we want to heal, we have to open our awareness, open the range of our awareness, and then connect with higher planes because we're much more than just our bodies. And the ego will try to tell you, no, it's not true, it's about me, when actually reality is about a shared reality. Okay,
totally. And
so
it's about pleasure. Basically, we, in our deepest part of who we are, we're
yes,
pleasure seeking, because the deepest part of the soul is this level called, within Keter, within crown, is connected to Ta'anug, which means pleasure. So
hmm,
there's this, and what's this pleasure really? This
yes,
pleasure is a pleasure of basking in the divine. It's a
that's
divine ecstasy,
yeah,
basically. It's this
I
dance
can't
of
tell
love with the divine.
you. Hmm. Sure. Okay. I would like to end this amazing call. I mean, I wish we could stay longer, but it's already late in Israel, right? So how about
Yes, but
if we just,
we didn't go into neshama enough.
oh,
We didn't even scratch the
I'm
surface there.
worried about you. I have all the time because for me it's 3:30. But please, I'm worried about you that it's late for you.
Don't worry,
Please
don't.
tell us
Yeah,
about Nishana.
I've got my rooster in the morning to wake me up. So
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't, yeah, but I don't want to leave. You asked the question about neshama, and I really want to just go, focus on that for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
because neshama again is the letters neshima, but the word neshama is actually found in a verse in Job, in Eov, where it says nishmat shakai telamdem, that the soul of shakai is one of the names of God, holy names of God. Telamdem, it has to do with teaching. So the neshama is operating on the level of the intellectual, it's the intellectual soul that is able to understand, that is able to comprehend. Now, we mistake in our Western civilization of thinking that, you know, I think, therefore I am, right? And the thinking is the what the under level of this of neshama is all about. It's not. Thinking, in fact, is a regurgitating of our emotions. It's our emotions. And it's going from what we thought about to what we feel to what our emotions now become. And now it goes back to our brains, and we're like, oh, I feel like eating pizza, or I feel like screaming at my neighbor, or whatever. Why do you feel that way? Because your thinking was not in the right place, misaligned,
Mm-hmm.
which, by the way, is the word for sin in Hebrew, means chet, means misalignment, by the way.
Mm-hmm. So there are
You
no
know,
sins. There's nothing about dogma. There is about alignment and disconnect.
alignment, exactly. A sin is being disconnected, right? And when we're living in our alignment, then we're living in truth, right? We're living in truth. But when we're not living in our alignment, we're living in falseness, and we're living in sin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something which is very, very particular and very refined for each individual. And for higher level people, consciousness people, called the tzaddikim, very high level type of individuals, that they are operating on the level of higher vibrations, right? Their misalignment or their sins are much more subtle than than our levels of sin, where we were like, oh, I said this to this person, or I reacted in that way, that is more of a coarse level misalignment. But what is important to understand is that what is neshama essentially, it's living with that alignment of understanding, which comes from our soul. So it's a soul level of understanding, of intellect. That soul intellect, that godly spiritual intellect, is able to understand the depth of what is going on. There's a teaching from the Baal Shem Tov. The holy Baal Shem Tov said that the word for raz,
Secret.
secret, is the same numerology as or, as light. Because when someone knows the secret of something, they're able to grasp the secret, the spiritual root of it all. Then they are able to have the light, the illumination of understanding how it works. So I actually saw this today regarding Joseph. Right, he was able to learn 70 languages, in a very short amount of time. How's that possible? So this is brought down from the Marinayim, from Reb Nachum of Chernobyl, one of the great students of the Baal Shem Tov, and he says that, well, he understood the root of all of these great languages, and he understood the ministering angels of that were in charge of these languages from these nationalities, and from that root level, he was able to understand the language. So when we understand something from the root level, so everything else is much easier, rather than going to the, starting with the end and trying to build up. And but that's what the level of intellect of the neshama is all about. It's about going to the root level of things, which I would say is really the foundation of all invention and ingenuity and newness, and it's that level within us that is saying there's something more. There's something more that I could reach into, that I could tap into. There's something more. And we say there's something more, then we become vessels to accept it. And we become that vessel to now channel it and bring it down into the world. So through the level of neshama, there's different components of it. There's chokhmah,
Mm-hmm.
bina, and dat. There's the three intellectual levels of it that then understand it, and they draw that down into what we call the practical, right? The here and now, the level called malchut, kingship, which is
Well,
the
we still haven't learned about the Sephiroth, about the sphere, so maybe they got a little lost over here.
yeah,
Talking back about the neshama, we human beings are wired by default with a nefesh behemit, with this fight or flight level of the soul. So when we grow up, as we grow up, we continue to develop the other levels of the soul, the emotional soul, right? You teach a child about emotions. So when they reach 12 and 13, they are fully developed, so to speak, for with their emotional tools. And then as we continue to grow older, to grow up, when you reach 18, 20, you become mature, supposedly or hopefully in your neshama. But what I mean by this is that mindfulness and meditation is about implementing your free will to go out of this animalistic soul, the soul that is negative, the soul of the ego, the soul of fear, and you choose, as you said, to realign with your divine soul, and then this neshama opens your awareness. This is how
Beautifully
I
said. Yeah.
and then of
Beautiful.
course, next week I'm going to be teaching about Chaya, and maybe I would need a little bit of help with Chaya because it's the aura, and that one
Yeah.
I'm not so savvy. So we'll
We
leave it.
have we have we have a class on it
Oh,
on the 5 levels of soul on Live Kabbalah. I could try to send you the PDF on that.
awesome.
So
Actually,
yeah.
Israel has a great uh, scientist Koroktov. I don't remember what his first name is. I'm sure if Randa is still watching, she can help me. Lynn McTaggart has been working with him. I don't know if you saw the film, the Israeli film Asadeh, or The Field. It's made in Israel. No? Oh, you
No.
have to watch it. It's about the power of intention and everything that we're talking about. And this scientist, Alexander Koroktov, I think it's called, he is an Olevatik from Russia. He has developed some kind of a device that you put your finger into it. It's for medical purposes, and it measures your aura.
Wow.
And whenever you see cuts in the aura, it means you're having problems over there. And he
Wow.
came up with a device called Sputnik. That was about 5 years ago. He would put it into the middle of a conference room with meditators. The Sputnik will pick up the levels of energy before and after meditation. And when a
Wow.
group of people meditate in the same room, the levels stay up to 48 hours after meditation. It's amazing. I'm going to send
Wow.
you the links.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
it's a never
That's
ending
cool.
thing here.
I
Yeah,
love that. That's such a cool correlation of science and and meditation and spirituality, that it's all one, right?
yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Oh,
We were saying,
I forgot to mention on the course, actually, we're having this world renowned brain science scientist who does research on the correlation of the mind and meditation. So there was a whole conference done in India, a couple of years ago, where people went there, and they where scientists went there, and they tried to understand the effects of meditation on the mind. So and so what that there's a whole conference on that. So anyway, so he was a
what a
part of it,
wonderful
and
thing you have, eh?
yes, it's gonna be amazing. Yeah,
Yes,
and
very good.
yeah. So yeah, being in sync, and
In alignment.
today in alignment. So today is a very special holiday. It's called Tu B'Shvat. It's the 15th of Shvat, which is the birthday of the trees, and it has to do with this alignment of connection to the ground. So maybe we could do like a short meditation on this concept
Sure.
of alignment.
Can
And
you please guide us? It will be my honor.
yes, okay,
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
okay,
Can we
okay.
start?
So
We just
let's get right to it.
okay.
Okay, so
Gonna put
breathing through our nose.
I'm just gonna put the 1 minute meditators track. Okay. Now go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So breathing through our nose all the way down to our bellies and out, creating a circular stream of air coming in and out. So I'm not sure if everyone could hear this in the background, but there's something in the background.
The music.
Or not music, there's some words in the background. I'm not sure if that may be disturbing.
It's gone now.
Okay. So let us feel the power of our body, and the trunk of our body is likened to the trunk of a tree, which is so robust and strong, with vitality going through the sap of the tree, giving the life force all the way out to the branches and to the leaves and to the fruit, if you are a fruit tree. And just taking in the breath all the way down to the roots, all the way down to your feet, which are deeply planted within Mother Earth. Feeling that powerful oneness and merging within your element of Earth. The tree is so powerful, extending its branches upwards towards the sky, feeling free, vulnerable, and strong as well. Breathing in the breath of life all the way down to all the way down into the roots and into the earth. And then breathing out from the earth, from the roots, all the way out. Let's take a couple of moments to create that circular movement of breath coming in from on top, circulating from the roots outwards. Whereas we know the trees give off the oxygen for us to breathe in. So let's take a couple of minutes to meditate on this beautiful stability and this beautiful strength and element of the tree. A deep conscious breath going all the way down to the bark, all the way down to the roots and out. Feeling clarity and stability and strength. Connected to all the trees in the universe. And man is likened to the tree of the field, says in Deuteronomy. Ki ha'adam eitz hasadeh. So on the count of 3, we are going to come out of this tree meditation on this auspicious day of Tu B'Shvat, feeling strong, secure, and more clarified and clear with our mission and who we are. 1 and 2. Another deep breath and breathing out. Okay. So, Kol HaNeshama, all the breath, Kol HaNeshama Hallelujah, Hallelujah. May we praise with every breath that we take while being in sync with our element.
Amen.
Thank you, Leah, for having me on, and thank you all for being here. And thank you
so
for
much for being here. It was really a great meditation. Thank you so much, and lots of love and light from New York.
Lots of love. Same here. Same here. Same here. All the best, everyone. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Bye bye.
Shabbat shalom. Bye bye.